Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on Angry Birds Part 2. Please open your Birds file in Frames 5 from your application screen. Now, if you remember in tutorial 1, we created the environment or our game board for our action. Okay, on the right hand side, let's bring back the tool panel, the tools panel. So let's click on the tools. All right, so this screen is ready to go. This is our opening shot. This is our opening screen. So make sure that nothing is selected on this frame, and let's duplicate the frame. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to show this chicken flying through the air and crashing into this tower here. So let's go up to the View pull-down menu at the top, and let's activate and turn on the onion skin. Okay, so let's move this chicken slightly over. Now we want, if you've ever played Angry Birds, you know that most of the time the birds kind of fly in this kind of curved path. All right, so let's deselect and let's duplicate. Now let's move the chicken. The onion skin will show you the position of the chicken in the previous frame. Try to move the chicken a regular distance, a uniform distance. So see how far I moved the chicken in frame 2, and then in frame 3, maybe I moved it too much. I'll move it back a bit. Now remember, the more frames we have, the smoother the animation will look. All right, deselect and duplicate. So let's continue this path of the chicken flying through the air. Move it just a little bit, deselect and duplicate. So we're going to continue on, deselect and duplicate. The chicken is rising as it's flying through the air. Deselect and duplicate. Getting closer to that that tall tower. Deselect and duplicate. Deselect and duplicate. Keep going. Again, take your time. The more frames you have, the smoother the animation will look. I'm approaching that tall tower now, and maybe I've reached my highest point, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start now having the chicken move on like a level plane before it starts falling slightly. So I've gotten to a point where the chicken is almost going to make contact with the tower. Okay, so in the top left-hand corner, let's save what we've done. All right, let's go back to frame 1 in our timeline. Let's go up to the View pull-down menu and turn off the onion skin. Let's have a look at the flight of this bird. So let's click play. And what I want you to look for is a nice smooth motion so that the chicken is not moving too far forward and it's kind of in a nice curve. Now I noticed with mine that when I got to the top, it kind of fell a bit and I don't want it to. So again, you can adjust things. You can just move this up. Okay. All right. So let's go back to frame 2. So not only is the chicken moving through the air, but if you've ever played the game, some of the birds actually rotate through the air. So what's going to make this animation quite comical and humorous is that this chicken is going to be spinning and rotating through the air. So remember, we're on frame 2. I want you to click on the chicken, and again, you'll see the rotate tool slightly above the chicken. So I want you to rotate it either forward or backward a little bit. Let's go up to the View menu and turn the onion skin back on. All right, let's go to the next frame. Click on the chicken, and I want you to rotate it even farther this time. And then click on the next frame, click on the chicken, rotate it even farther this time. Okay, so remember that the onion skin is going to show you the rotational position of where it was. But when you go to that frame, the chicken is going to be upright, so you're going to have to rotate it a little bit more each time. All right, so deselect, go on to the next frame, Click on the chicken, rotate it even further, deselect, go to the next frame, continue on your motion, and if by this point your chicken is almost upside down, then that's fine. Okay, try to have this a similar, a uniform rotational spin for every movement of the frame. Eventually, the chicken is going to it's going to have rotated 360 degrees, and that's fine. Then you can just continue the rotation past 360 degrees. It's just going to keep spinning. So I'm almost back at 360 degrees on mine, and I'm heading towards the tower. Okay, I've only got a few more frames to go. And it actually turns out that in this frame, the chicken is actually in the perfect rotational position. So I'm just going to not rotate that one. And then I'm going to go to my last one, and I'm going to rotate it. Okay, so once you've done all the rotations, you want to make sure you watch it to really see what we've done. So let's go up to the View pull-down menu and turn off the onion skin. Let's click back on frame 1, and let's click play. So again, you want to see that chicken rotating as it's moving on its arc towards the first tower. Okay, if you like the way it looks, then great. If you find that you need to go in and change some of the rotations, then that's fine. That's why we watch our animations so that we can correct anything before the animation gets too long. Okay, if you're ready to move on, it looks like in my next frame, I'm ready for the chicken to knock into this tower. So let's go back up to the View pull-down menu and turn back on the onion skin. Then let's duplicate the frame. Okay, so let's move the chicken so that it makes contact with the tower, and let's remember to rotate it a little bit. And for me, it looks like it's going head first into the tower. Now, if the feet went feet first or tail first, it doesn't matter. Okay? All right, let's deselect. Okay, let's duplicate the frame. So what's going to happen here? Well, the chicken is going to continue flying, but this block here is going to move, isn't it? This block is going to be knocked off. So let's knock this one up into the air, and then let's slightly rotate it. This block is going to be rotated and moved to the right. And it hasn't hit this block yet. Okay? So if we deselect, we can kind of see what's happened here. All right, so we have to actually still move the chicken, don't we? Okay, so this block maybe has to move even further over. Okay, now it's okay if the chicken crosses in front of the block because it's moving faster, right? It was the object that was in motion. All right, now I got to remember to rotate the chicken. So at this point, there are a lot of things going on. Now I'm animating not only the chicken, but I'm animating all the moving blocks that the chicken comes in contact with. Okay, so if you think you've got all the elements, then make sure you deselect and let's click duplicate. Okay, so try to have a system for how you're going to keep track of all these things. So the first thing, let's move this block as it gets kicked higher into the air. This block now is getting knocked, so we'll push it over and then maybe we'll rotate it and maybe it can go flying slightly upwards. This one continues to rotate and gets kicked over here. And the bird finally continues its path forward and maybe rotated. Okay, so maybe this one even gets knocked even further so that I can move this one over. Okay. All right, if you've remembered all of those elements, okay, then you can deselect and duplicate. All right, so remember your system. The first thing I did was this block flying gets kicked up high into the air. Then this one continues flying and maybe spinning like this. This one continues to move in this direction, maybe spinning as well. And the bird maybe is just flying forward at this point. Okay, don't forget to rotate the bird as well. Now, really, when it hits that first piece of the tower, you might say, well, the chicken no longer is spinning, and that's fine. Okay, you can just have the chicken just move without rotation, but I think it's fun if you continue to rotate it. All right, so let's deselect and duplicate. So this one continues to fly upwards. This one starts to fall and maybe topple a little bit, maybe spin a little bit more. This one is moving as well, spinning. And the chicken will just continue moving straight. Okay? And then maybe I will rotate it a little bit. All right. So let's duplicate. Let's deselect and duplicate. Okay, so this one now continues to fall. Actually, I went out of order, didn't I? I should do this one first. It continues to go flying upwards. This one really got knocked far, didn't it? This one starting to fall into the space between the towers. And then this chicken continues to move forward. Okay, so we haven't saved in a while. And this is probably a good time to save because as it is in my animation, it looks like this is now going to come into contact with this far tower. So now is a good time to save. Okay? All right, this concludes this Frames 5 video tutorial on Angry Birds Part 2. Please continue on with the next tutorial without calling Mr. Ueda over. Thanks for watching. Bye.